Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's day is going phenomenally awesome. Oh, you got to love these places that have giant freaking mud hole parking lots and expect you to park in them. I'm in a place here in Illinois. I've never been here before. It's the first time actually delivering to this place. We'll see how it goes, but they have overnight parking here. That was one of the things that was advertised. And I got all excited. I got here last night and it is a giant freaking mud pit. That ground out there is so soft. You can see they put a lot of gravel down, but it is soft, man. I pulled in here last night. There was a guy who just pulled in here and pulled up next to me and then backed around, got turned around. He was barely able to do it. I ended up pulling in here last night and then backing out, going through their other lot, and then the other direction, backing into where I'm at. But I'm so long, I can't go back a whole lot farther. There's like a mud hole behind me that's, well, it's a pond. It's what it is. So, and I could just feel it as I was going backwards. Just it was getting soft, and I'm like, oh my gosh. That's kind of one of the things I want to talk about. We all do this. We all just, sometimes pull into a place thinking, man, we got her made. Do a little bit of research and a little reconnaissance before you go driving into a place. Just pulling in willy nilly, not knowing where you're at. Can save you a lot of heartaches. I can see this place here being a place where a tow truck could probably make some money. Because off to the edges, around the outer edges out here is just, it's really soft. I mean, really, really soft. I'm glad my truck isn't washed and super clean. It's snowing on top of it. It's warm-ish. It's like 35 degrees, I think. Let me look here. I'll tell you. I've been sitting here long enough that whatever my deal shows, it'll be accurate. Oh, and of course, do you guys ever get this? If you guys have a W900, do you ever get this with just the lines? I don't know what, I don't have a clue what causes that. So here I'm trying to tell you what the temperature is outside, and I can't because my odometer and stuff aren't working. This happens to me, I bet you, once a month. And what'll happen is one of two things. It'll either clear itself out in about the next 5 key cycles, or it'll just all go blank except for the engine hours. This is Loki. He's one of our other dogs. We have 3 dogs. He got to come along this trip. Phoenix, I left her at home so he could have a vacation away from everybody. And he's enjoying it. He's tiny. His only problem is being an Aussie. He does shed these long white hairs. Not horribly, but he does. But the biggest thing is he's deaf. So he can't hear much of what's going on. He can hear certain noises. It's funny. He can hear when a bag opens, but that's about it. Loud noises don't really bother him too much. We rescued him from a breeder who sells these little tiny toy Aussies. I mean, this is as big as he's ever going to get. He weighs about 8 pounds. She sells these dogs for pretty much what a full-size Aussie would go for. And they're working dogs. I mean, he has the instinct and the ability. You can't recall him and you can't give him instructions. So training him is just a little tough. And he don't go well on visual cues. I think maybe he might be a little retarded. I'm not sure. But he's good. He's sweet. When we first got him, you couldn't even pet him. Everything seemed like it way overstimulated him. I know he was abused just a short period. You could tell by how he acted. But yeah, you couldn't pet him. You can't brush him hardly. He just freaks out, man. He wants to attack you. He doesn't like that. Just too much sensation. Trimming his nails, almost impossible. I mean, you can do it, but you better be prepared to have some marks when it's done. But yeah, that's my other dog that I'll take with me once in a while. We have a miniature dachshund that's my wife's dog, and I know this is different than what I started the video out off, but he came up here and sat in my lap, so I thought I'd talk about him a little. We have a miniature dachshund, which, you know, she's not so mini. She weighs like 17 pounds, something like that, 15 pounds. She's still small. Is still classified as a miniature because, you know, full-size dachshunds will get up 30 pounds. So, but anyway, going back to what I was talking about originally, be very careful when you're pulling into a place. I mean, a lot of places trucks can get in and out and get turned around just fine. I can't always, you know, just based on how long my truck and my trailer are. It's a 53-foot trailer, but with a spread. And especially if I'm stretched out all the way, man, it gets really tough to get in and around places. And even with, you know, your basic fleet spec 220, 230 wheelbase setback axle tractor and a 53-foot trailer, you can really get yourself in some trouble. If you can, open up Google Maps, you know, or whatever, Google Earth, and look up the place you're going to on the satellite image and take a good look at it. And you'll have a pretty good idea if you can get in and out. But like around here, it's been raining for the last few days. And then this morning, now it's snowing. Everything's just a mud pit. I can't even walk out there in this stuff without getting it everywhere. So always be aware. You know, that's my pro tip for the day. Just always be aware of what you're getting into. I used to pull a set of 40-24 A-trains, you know, so a 40-foot lead and a 24-foot pup on a turntable, hooked, you know, with a pintle hitch to the lead trailer. And you learn really, really fast to stop, walk in, see where you're going, and then decide whether or not you're breaking up out on the street and you're dragging your trailer in behind your tractor, or if you can even get into the place. So just super important to do that, guys, and it'll save you so much heartache. You know, you see a lot of guys running around, their trucks are just tore to crap, their fairings, their bumpers, their mud flaps are missing. You know, there's a trailer sitting out here actually from this place that I'm delivering to, that the whole front third of the trailer's all smashed in up on the top where they went under a low overpass. Again, not being aware, not knowing your route, not being aware of your surroundings, not checking the restrictions. You know, where is it here? Let me see if I can grab it. If you have one of these, use it. If you don't, get one and use it. But if you go to the front here, every state has a listing of low clearance, you know, and it's not super comprehensive. It doesn't cover every single one, but it covers the ones on the major truck routes. Low clearance locations, permanent weigh station and inspection station locations, and restricted routes. Some states have way more than others. Let's see. California, a good example. There are a ton, well, I guess not a ton of restricted routes, but weigh stations. Tells you where all the permanent scales are at. Doesn't tell you where the jump scales are. Tells you where all the permanent scales are at. Trying to think here, what's a good state with a ton of restricted routes? Mississippi has a bunch, but super good resource for that. You know, New York, all the low clearance locations. Look at the list of that. That's like full length of the page, and it carries on into the next page. So, you know, get one of these, man, and learn how to use it, because I'll tell you right now, these dumb things will get you in a lot of trouble. I have seen and talked to, I know people who have followed them, especially back when they first came out, before they were truck GPSs, following the GPS routes and ending up on Forest Service roads, things like that. man, a good atlas, reading it, write down where you're going to go, out of where you're at. Use it. Write your route down. Figure it out. Trucker Path, man, I love that app on my phone. I'm not going to lie to you. I use the crap out of it. But and my Rand McNally, I bought that. I only bought that one just last year because it's the TD7 or TND7 or whatever it is. And it's the previous models. And I got it for like $229, I think I paid for it. I got a really good price for it. And I like it. The only thing I really use it for, though, I like the freeway interchange pictures that pop up. If you're in an unfamiliar area and you know what route you're taking, and so you can kind of see what lanes you need to be in ahead of time. But other than that, the only thing I really use it for is time left on the trip. And that thing will tell me constantly, you're going the wrong way. You need to turn around. You need to take this exit. And I just ignore it. I have to, because I know where I'm going. And same with Trucker Path. It happens all the time. And for a truck GPS to tell you to just take a U-turn, if you guys are listening over there at Trucker Path, really, you need to work with your software and your map providers and say, hey, that doesn't work in a semi. You can't just flip a Yui in the middle of the street. And there's a lot of places, even with, your, like I'm saying, these shorter wheelbase, the plastic fantastics, as I like to call them, there's a lot of places you can't just turn around. You can't just make a turn onto a street and then another turn and get back going the other direction. It's tough. So know your routes. That's got to be probably my biggest complaint when I talk to guys out here now. They have no clue how to figure out where they're going. They follow that GPS right to the letter, and they stop paying attention to what's going on around them. I can't tell you how many times I come up to an intersection to make a turn, and there's another truck sitting right in the way, knowing that anybody with a semi is going to need to, make a wide turn, but they're staring at their GPS. They're not paying attention to anything else going on around them. They're staring at their GPS, and man, that is no way to drive. That makes driving a chore. It really does. I just, what I like to do a lot of times, I'm still pretty old school, is I'll pull it up on the GPS, and then I'll write down, get off at exit such and such, turn left at the end of the ramp, go down to whatever street, make a right, customer, half mile on the left, whatever. I write it down. And then I'll have the GPS up, but I won't pay as much attention to it as I would otherwise, knowing that, okay, I need to go this far and look for this street to turn on. And that's important, man. You guys, I can't reiterate again how important that is, to do some trip planning ahead of time. Just makes your life so much easier. You don't end up in a pickle and tearing stuff up and tearing up people's property and things like that. So know your routes. Anyway, Loki and I, we tell you, see ya. Have a great trip. Be safe out there, everybody. Keep the shiny side up and the greasy side down, and we'll catch you on the flip flop. See ya.